ChatGPT is lying to you. Welcome to the Seamus Evans Show. Today, I am talking about AI threatening jobs. Your job right now, as you listen to this podcast, as you watch this episode, your job is threatened by AI. And I'm going to share with you how you can flip the script, go against the grain, and actually beat AI, this huge beast that everybody is scared of. Goldman Sachs, how's this, have just announced that 25 million jobs are going to be threatened this year in 2026 alone just because of AI. Now, let's face it, so many people are either really, really scared of AI and think it's the devil. AI is the devil. ChatGPT is the devil. It's the Antichrist. It's coming to get us. And some people are obsessed with it. And some people don't use it at all. In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine just last night, and they were going through some sort of work problem with a colleague. And I said to them, hey, do you use ChatGPT or do you use AI? And they said, oh, just to do an email. And I suggested, why don't you run this topic through AI and it will actually generate some nice answers, but make sure you're as clear as possible. See, the problem at the moment with AI is the user has got to be very good with their prompts. If your prompt game sucks, well, your result game is going to be even worse. So you must know how to drive the AI platform. Now, I'm experimenting with Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok. Haven't been using Claude. I'm only using those three at the moment. So far, Gemini seems to be the best. Me and ChatGPT, are in a bit of a rocky relationship. You know, when you've been with someone for so long, you don't really want to leave them, but you're not happy with them. So you just suck it up and kind of live with them and manage and just get frustrated with their normal, the way they live. And you're like, oh, I tell you what, they annoy me absolutely to tribes. But I've been with them for this long. Like, I'm paying for ChatGPT and I think I'm paying for Gemini with my Google subscription. Anyway, because I've been using it for so long, I feel loyal, even though it's annoying me. So far, Gemini seems to be more advanced than ChatGPT. Plus, if you look at OpenAI, the people who own ChatGPT, they're in a little bit of hot water. They were in something recently in the news where many people are trying to boycott them, but I don't know about that topic. I more so mean they're investors. Their trajectory is trillions of dollars, and they're at this point right now, and this is a typical point most businesses face. They have an incredible incline. Then you must maintain that ability, like a startup company versus like a multi-trillion-dollar operating company. They're two different skill sets. So to go so quickly from a startup to global company, you must have the skill set to maintain that. Otherwise, you can't keep up with the demand. You get so many investors, you can't deliver the return, and you bust. This year alone, 2026, OpenAI is in trouble. It is a sink or swim moment. ChatGPT, as we know it, might fail. So Gemini, so far, is the best. But here's the problem. AI is perfect. If you know how to use it, it's perfect. And yes, it's taking jobs. I interviewed a business coach just recently, and I thought, why don't I get someone else to kind of mentor me through this next phase of my business, right? And as I'm talking to them, I'm like, well, let's just ask the same questions to Gemini. It gave me all the correct answers. I prompted, I challenged it. I really had the communication with my device, which made me look crazy. And if you are down that philosophical, spiritual route, they're talking to the devil. No good. I know a lot of fundamental right-wing Christians who genuinely believe that AI is either the Antichrist or the mark of the beast. Now, that is a topic I'm not going to cover today. That one's a deep one. Instead, I'm talking about you as a human being that has flaws, that has faults, that has quirks, that has insecurities, that has a personality that is not perfect and cannot match the output and work quality as AI. So how on earth are you meant to get ahead when it's not just factory workers? It's not just operators that are being replaced by AI. This is accountants, lawyers, doctors. These are important people that are highly intelligent, and they've had to study for 10 years just to get to where they are, making serious money. and they're being replaced by an app. That can be a very scary time or a really exciting time. So, what AI doesn't do, it doesn't have faults. I mean, yes, in its bugs, it's got its early stages, blah, 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 from a technology point of view. I mean, it doesn't have adversity. It doesn't have a personality. You can program it to reflect a personality, but it is not a human brain. Humans are flawed. Humans have setbacks, have challenges. Humans have trauma. Humans have parents that made mistakes. And now they're living out the results of those mistakes, being abandoned at childhood, being smacked too much, being yelled at, whatever it might be, okay? I might be revealing some of my own. What I'm saying is a human being is perfect because it isn't perfect. And AI, because it's too perfect, it's actually generating the wrong results. Across the board, HR teams have been using AI to hire. And the problem they've found is the people that they're hiring are boring. Boring. Human beings, we are born to be in a community. We are not solitary animals. We are meant to be a part of a tribe, a part of a group, and we are meant to have social interaction. Okay. So when you hire robots, your life is boring. And it's huge at the moment, the work-life balance. Let's face it, how many of you sitting here right now listening, whether you're driving to work, whether you're watching this in your bed, whatever it is late at night, you might hate the work that you do, but you love the people you work with. Okay, now imagine all of those people that you love working with. You get together, you gossip about the boss, you share some stories, you live vicariously through the other person's dating life, whatever it might be. You love each other, you love hanging out with each other, and that's the reason you go to work. Now imagine if they were replaced by boring people and apps and robots. Your life, miserable. Now, in the short term, these companies are doing really fantastic into cutting down costs, boosting up their profit margin, and the big guys at the top are laughing their way to the bank. But that is only a short-term situation. Eventually, you're going to have an exodus of that business, and that business will probably be replaced with mostly AI bots, right? And that might be doing some really good numbers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you look at any great company, they foster a great culture with a great team, because the team, they act as salesmen for that company. If you work with a great group of people, you share that with your friends. You know what? Yeah, work is work. We get through it. But the people I work with, oh, they're actually my best friends. They're so incredible. And then you start falling in love with the work and the company a little bit more because there's a bit of an intimacy towards it. Now, AI will do the job. It'll do your accounting. It'll do your numbers. In fact, it'll even create your marketing campaign, okay? But what it won't do is it won't take a little break with you and sit outside, whether it's having a cigarette, a coffee, having lunch, and reveal some authentic vulnerabilities and shine a light into its life, because it's not real. It's a computer. It will mimic a human, but it ain't human. Now, coming from Tourette's, ADHD, failing school, okay, really being annoying sometimes socially with a high proactive and intense personality, I have flaws, okay? I have setbacks. Now, my output is nowhere near as good as an AI app, okay? My keynote that I share, the workshops that I facilitate, the programs that I run, the actual work, yes, it can be replaced by AI. But you know what it can't replace? Me, my stories, my insecurities, my vulnerabilities, my authenticity, my traumas that I grew up with from my parents, and how I am now as a 35-year-old man, what I bring to the table, all that checkered past, and maybe the questionable decisions that I had, the addiction problems, all of those things that I bring to the table in a corporate environment, to a conference stage, to a school, whatever it is, that's what makes me me. Now, AI might be able to replicate that, but not properly. It's just a robot. It's fake. It's facade. It's not actually a perfect replacement for a human being. Now, obviously, so many people are so scared about this huge exodus of jobs. Just say there's 8 billion people in the world. Around about there is, okay? And 90% of the jobs were replaced with AI. So what's 90% of 8 billion? In fact, let's ask AI that, because I don't have that answer, for goodness sake. Who does? Let's ask Gemini as my producer, Gem. Okay, Gemini, I'm literally recording right now, so you are a guest. And don't jump in. I'm not finished
I'm right
talking.
here in your ear, Seamus. You've got the brief, you've got the mic, and you've got the glitch that makes you worth more than 1,000 algorithms.
Okay, stop talking. Now, first of all, you got my name wrong. It's not Seamus, it's Seamus. Secondly, right now, you're a guest on the show. So what I need from you, I need you to tell me if there are, how many people are in the world? Is it 8 billion? Secondly, I need you to tell me a hypothetical situation that if in 5 years' time, 90% of the population of jobs were replaced by AI, how many people in the world out of that 8 billion are jobless?
Understood, Seamus.
Oh.
My apologies for the slip. The producer's ear is now perfectly tuned. As a guest on the Seamus Evans Show, here is the data and the hypothetical doomsday scenario for your listeners. 1. The world population, 2026. We have officially surpassed the 8 billion mark. As of right now, in March 2026, the global population is estimated at approximately 8.3 billion people. 2. The 90% displacement scenario. If we look 5 years into the future, 2031, and assume a hypothetical world where 90% of all current jobs are replaced by AI, we have to look at the global labor force, the number of people who are actually employed or looking for work. Global labor force. Roughly 3.5 billion people out of that 8.3 billion are currently in the workforce. The math. 90% of 3.5 billion is 3.15 billion people. The hypothetical jobless reality. In this scenario, 3.15 billion humans would be displaced. To put that into perspective for your audience, that is nearly everyone in the world's labor force besides the top 10%, the owners of the AI, the extreme high-level strategists, and the glitchy human outliers. The unemployment rate would jump from a global average of about 5% to a staggering power-shifting 90%. The guest take for your show. Seamus, if 3 billion people lose their tasks to a machine, we aren't just looking at an economic crisis, we're looking at an identity crisis.
Okay. First of all, bro, it's Seamus, not Seamus. So it's spelt Seamus, but it is pronounced Shaymus, Shaymus. Capiche?
I hear you loud and clear, Seamus. My apologies. I'll make sure that pronunciation...
Okay, enough, for goodness sakes. Could you imagine working with that person? We all know someone just like that. And we all know that in the lunchroom, as soon as they start going, well, actually, according to my calculations, in 5 years' time, given your hypothetical question, shut up, man! We're just having a laugh with a sandwich. For goodness sake, can you imagine your work-life balance if you were surrounded by 20 of those people sitting in a room on your own? That's a nightmare. You'll quit. Now, my point is, if 90% of the population are out of a job, now what do you reckon will happen to that 90% of the population? Now, our fear response is we're all going to die. Now, and the world's going to end. First of all, the world has been ending for the last 2,000 years. Secondly, I don't predict that's what will happen. I predict that when 90% of the population are out of a job, they create their own market. They go, hey guys, 90% of us aren't working. We're going to need to work because the 10% control us. Well, what if we rise up against that 10%, turn off all of our devices, completely create our own, like it's majority rules. How do people get into power? Majority of the vote. So what would happen if 10% of the population can't control 90% of the population? The 90% turn into, they win. They walk away. It's an exodus. Or they stop buying. They boycott. Now, I've never been a fan of cancel culture, but it works. Some of my favorite actors have been cancelled. Some of my favorite comedians, cancelled, gone. Don't ever lose faith in the power of humankind. Don't ever lose faith into your ability. Not just your ability, but your personality, your quirkiness, who you are, your makeup, your DNA, your upbringing, your trauma, your background, your situation, your humor. Everything about you makes you perfect. And that right there, your flaws, that is actually your superpower when it comes to going against AI as a job. Now, let's put it this way. Yes, AI is replacing lawyers. Okay, if I had some legal problem with a job dispute, a little tiny legal dispute, or a car accident or whatever, I'm using ChatGPT, I'm using Gemini, and I am going to fight that little legal battle as best as I can using AI. But if I accidentally killed a guy, I ain't going to AI. I am finding the best legal team I possibly can, mortgaging my house, going into debt, doing everything I can to get the best team to back me. I'm not using some $30 a month subscription to try and get me out of a murder charge. So let's face it, you've got to have the right team behind you. If your team are 5 AI bots, you're losing. You might have the correct marketing plan and the strategy, but if you look at it, some of the best things, some of the best achievements by humans were done by accident. And they were done because a human intervened, okay? Robots are impressive, but they lack that little thing that we can't ever replace, and that's a human. Let's look at it like AI producing art, like music, or creating content, or painting a picture. The Mona Lisa is one of the world's most famous paintings and worth millions of dollars in the Louvre. I've seen it. By the way, if you ever go to the Louvre in France, in Paris, and you see the Mona Lisa, turn around. Make sure you literally do a 180 and turn around, because there is a beautiful piece of art right behind you that no one ever sees, because everyone's looking at the Mona Lisa, which is a stupid painting, by the way. It's just famous for a whole bunch of dumb, weird reasons. Sure, Leonardo da Vinci and his weird quirkiness. By the way, it's all branding and marketing. And it was stolen and blah, 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 blah. It's an okay painting, right? The eyes follow you. Is it smiling, isn't it? Who is Mona Lisa? Boring. Look behind you, man. It's really impressive. The Louvre, brilliant. But let's just take the Mona Lisa, okay? How amazing would it be if I had the Mona Lisa on my wall? The beautiful Mona Lisa sitting right there, and its eyes follow you everywhere. You can see the cracks inside of the painting. You can go, wow, what was Leonardo da Vinci thinking when he made this, when he drew this? Who was this woman? What's happening here? She's not the best looking woman in the world. Why is she so famous? I can actually do that. I can get that. I can go to Officeworks and I can get the best possible detailed replica, put it in a frame, and I can put it on my wall. And I can have identical the Mona Lisa on my wall. But I don't, because it's fake. It's not real. It's not the real Mona Lisa. It doesn't have the feeling, the vibe, the story, the background, the history. But I can replace it. I can absolutely, to the untrained eye, in fact, to the trained eye, have an absolute perfect image of the Mona Lisa framed. One, I never would do that. Number two, it doesn't have the same ring to it. It doesn't have the same feel. I'm not going to invite people over and go, look at the Mona Lisa. Isn't it beautiful? The painting was taken. Yeah, but that's not it, Seamus. Yeah, but it's the same. It's pretty much the same. In fact, it's actually better. This is actually better than the Mona Lisa because there's less cracks. That's AI. It's not the real thing. Art is human beings. Art is created by a human, okay? And I find AI impressive because it's been created by a human, but I actually don't find its output impressive. So when I can tell something's been written or done by AI, I'm like, ugh, boring. The output of AI, not impressive. But AI's capability, very impressive. I actually think that AI as we know it today will not be what it is in 5 years. Yes, it's going to advance very, very quickly, but it's not going to be used for what we're using it for today. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be used as companionship and sexual intimacy. I think it's going to be used more so as a convenience thing. But when it comes to, I don't think 90% of the population will be replaced. It doesn't make sense. It won't happen. It can't happen. What market is there when they're all gone? I also think there's an unwritten law that when someone is in too much power, or when people or a group of people have too much power, they die. Let's look at Jeffrey Epstein, for example. Too much power. Dead. Let's look at, this is deep, but let's look at Israel. I don't even want to say it because they're everywhere. But when you are in power for so long, there's always a pendulum swing. The uprise of AI today is nowhere near what it's going to be in 5 years. In fact, something I'm really working on at the moment is fear and thinking too much. And I feel that's everyone's problem. Now, when we scroll on social media, we stop thinking and we scroll, okay? And it's like putting a giant traffic light on our thinking, and our thoughts are our cars, and they stop at a traffic light. And the traffic light is red because we're scrolling on social media. And the moment you stop scrolling, all of those thoughts come speeding back and they create a traffic jam in your mind. And that's where this anxiety comes from. That's where this frustration, that's where the depression hits. That's where the stress hits, because it's an overloaded thought traffic jam in your mind that you've put on pause because of the scrolling. How do you stop it? You keep scrolling. So I've been looking at thoughts, and I've been actually speaking to my psychologist about thoughts and working on unhooking from these thoughts and understanding that there are two types of brains. There's two types of mind. English, we don't have a translation for this, but in Chinese, many different Chinese languages, there is a translation and a word that describes the two minds. Mind number one is thinking mind. Mind number two is observational mind. So mind number one thinks 24 hours of the day. That's why we dream. It's always moving. It's always going, like a giant highway. Open 24 hours, like the Autobahn in Germany. Never stopping. Ferraris. Golf. Combi. And what happens with our observing mind? We're like, Ferrari, combi, Ferrari, golf. The ability to unhook and not get engaged, not actually jump in the highway or in the car with the thought. The goal is to notice them go by and not let them impact you. And then when you get better at that, to hook on to certain thoughts that help you and unhook from the ones that don't. Now, I was challenging my psychologist going, no, but I need to think because that's how I problem solve. And I thought, hang on. Actually, I never problem solve with my thoughts. My thoughts aren't problem solving. The only time I think, it's with two times. One, I'm daydreaming and I'm off in a fantasy world where I'm living in another reality, okay? Or I'm like thinking about daydreaming in these amazing goals and aspirations of what I want success to look like and an alternative life of like this amazing wealth and abundance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the other thinking where I think it's problem solving, it's actually just worry. It's just fear. It's just stressing out. And if I look back at my 5 years as a motivational speaker, if I look back at the 17 years of being in broadcast media and at being on TV and radio, I was always so worried all the time. And then I was like, hang on, it's me. It was me. I was the problem throughout my whole career, my whole teenage life, except for primary school. Why? Because I wasn't worrying. And every time I've realized as an adult, we always look back we look back with fondness when we are in primary school, when we're young, under 10 years of age. Why? Because we didn't have a worry in the world. All we did, in fact, our routine was looked after for us because our parents, they would wake us up, they would dress up, they would clothe us, they would do everything. There was no such thing as bills. All we did was play. Then we wished we got older. And the older we got, the more responsibility we got, not knowing it was a trap. And you're going to lose that fondness, that playfulness, that fun, that having a great time. And the older you get, the more worries you get. Then you pass this period where you're like, I don't have a worry in the world because I don't care what people think of me anymore. And I'm so used to building up a proper habit and having a daily routine and a schedule that I don't think much anymore. I think about nice things. And I've really prioritized having great things in my life and having gratitude. Those are the people that got the secret to life. The problem is they're 70 or 80 or 90 when they finally get there, and then bam, they're dead. what? There you go. Let that sink in. So the realization that I've come to is I thought that thinking too much was helpful. It's actually not. It's very unhelpful. And problem solving, I've realized, comes naturally when your unconscious mind takes on the problem and you sit with it, you ponder with it, you don't engage with the thought, but you let the thoughts run through like that highway. Eventually, the problem solves itself. Now, there is a little bit of, I guess, effort you need to put in towards the situations. But when you're scared, when you have worry, when you have fear, it doesn't help solve the problem because you don't think objectively, you think emotionally. And then you personalize it. And it doesn't do any problem solving. All it does is put more gray hairs on your head. If you look at mine, I'm full of them because I worried way too much. In fact, still to this day, this is only a couple of days that I've come to this realization. So the art is learning how to not worry, to not let the future and the uncertainty impact your present, and not allowing the past to impact your present and ruin your present. Looking back with that guilt, looking back with that shame, looking back with that regret, and looking forward with fear, going, oh, what's going to happen? Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, what's going to happen? It's such a human thing. It's so normal. But if we are able to unhook from that fear and we back ourselves, we appreciate our glitches, what our flaws are, our setbacks, our insecurities, our trauma, our upbringing, and what makes us us, our DNA, our thoughts, even though I'm saying unhook from them. But understanding that your thoughts are actually just past situations, and allowing your personality, which is created by nature and nurture. And if you just allow yourself to grow like a tree and allow the branches to fan out where they land, it's a beautiful piece of art that if it's ever replicated by AI, it's just a tribute band. It's not the real thing. And understanding that, that's what's going to separate you for when you're going for a job interview, the authenticity of a proper human being in all of its setbacks and strengths. That adversity is actually an advantage to you. So how do you find that? There's this beautiful quote that I came across yesterday that I'm going to read out to you. I screenshotted it straight away because I thought it was absolutely awesome. And it's really resonated with me. Okay, it is the law of self-image. You don't live the life you want. You live the life that matches the person you believe yourself to be. Change the self-image, and reality quietly reorganizes around it. How you see yourself is more important than how others see you, okay? Instead of worrying about how others see you, worry about how you see yourself. Worry about how proud you are of yourself, or if you're not proud of yourself, getting proud of yourself. Learning to love yourself, learning to back yourself, learning to embrace who you are. Really understanding that you are perfect, you are enough, you have what it takes, you have all of the materials to be highly successful, extremely happy, and fulfilled. So one of the projects that I would recommend you do, and I'm going to do as well, just from reading that quote yesterday. I'm going to create a self-image. I'm going to understand how I see myself and then tell myself that's not the reality. In fact, let's create our own reality and start looking at myself differently and going, what do I feel like? How do I act? What resembles me? What car do I drive? What opinions do I have? How do I behave? What habits do I have? How do I feel when I'm challenged? Am I strong? Am I confident? Am I weak? When am I going to find those situations where I set boundaries with people that I've not set boundaries with before? All of these little things, this self-development, jumping in your own lake without a paddle, so to speak, and really working it out. But instead of asking questions and trying to work it out, just make the decision around it. I am like this. I am like this. I am this. I am this. I am this. Okay, well, what do that habit? Let's just say I am brave. Okay, I am brave. Let's just use that as an example that you can play along. Let's workshop that. So what do brave people do? Brave people do things when they're scared. That's what bravery is. Bravery is not doing things that you're not scared of. It's doing things you're scared of and doing them anyway. Just like that amazing quote from Mufasa. What does it say? Being brave doesn't mean I go looking for trouble. And that's true. Just because you're brave doesn't mean you go out and fight for no reason. Moments of bravery are doing things you don't want to do, but doing them anyway. So what don't you want to do? You don't want to get up early. You don't want to have a cold shower. You don't want to get to work early. You don't want to challenge that person and send that email. You don't want to hand out $20 to a homeless person. You know, you don't want to do a lot of really good things. Why? Because it's out of your comfort zone. Stepping out of your comfort zone is bravery. Doing things you don't want to do is bravery. But doing those things that make you a brave person, doing certain behaviors, creating certain habits of a certain type of successful person or a person you want to be. If you start acting like that, you will become it. That amazing famous saying, fake it until you become it. Just make those decisions, create those habits, step out of those comfort zones and actually forge your persona because you see yourself as that. Now, I'm getting really hungry, so I'm going to end this. I'm going to end it with this. Your glitch makes you you. Your you-ness, the vibe, the DNA, the thing you can't actually write down and put on paper what makes you you, that's you. We need to eliminate this fear-based thinking of worrying about how AI is going to take over. Who cares? Get on with your life today. Because tomorrow, it ain't guaranteed, okay? Stop living in fear. Unhook from those thoughts that make you scared. Unhook, disengage from that thought highway. Be observing mind, not thinking mind. Understand that your emotions are just that. They're just normal emotions that you normal human beings feel. But it's your actions that determine your character. It's your actions that command respect. It's the things that you do that make up who you are. And it's the bravery that you need to step out of your comfort zone to make those actions a reality and a part of your makeup. The more times you do them, the more they become you. The more your reputation grows as that person of bravery. So, make sure you join this revolution of rising up against the AI army, taking all of our jobs. You know what? Shove it. You can have our jobs, AI, because we're too busy being glitchy and flawed and being humans. We are a very resilient race. Humans. I don't mean white men. I got to be careful saying race publicly when I look like this. We, as in all human beings, we are all resilient. We are all determined, strong, brave. You just have to become it. Don't think, just do. Like Heath Ledger from The Joker. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for listening and watching The Seamus Evans Show.